Hi there, it's been a long time. I haven't made a video in a long time, but I wanted to make a little quick video because I recently got some new art supplies, and I'm not usually a traditional media artist. I prefer working on a computer, but these supplies have made it a bit easier for me to work traditionally, and so I wanted to talk about them. Usually I keep a sketchbook and I just do little pencil doodles, you know, just working out block shapes and stuff, and if I want to do anything complicated I do it on the computer. But some of the work that I've been doing recently, you can see, is replicating the digital stuff that I would normally do, but it's traditional, which is something that I'm not particularly used to doing and I've quite enjoyed. The main thing that I am really pleased to have is this pen, which is a Copic Garson Fude brush pen, which is the first pen I've owned which has accurately replicated the feel of drawing in Photoshop with the brush tool. It kind of sounds pretty obvious when you think about it. Brush tool, brush pen, they go together, but I've bought cheaper brush pens before and they haven't worked very well. This Copic is just wonderful because I can do very, very thin little lines if I'm very gentle, and I can also do huge, big, thick blocks. And if I'm patient, I can do quite varied line widths, just as I could on the computer. So I really, really like this pen and will happily praise it from the hills. The only downside to it is that it can't be refilled, and it is quite expensive. I paid about £10 for this pen. The Americans seem to get it a little cheaper, probably due to different import laws and that sort of thing. One I'm looking forward to getting when this runs out. It sounds kind of a paradox. I'm looking forward to buying something when it runs out. But the apparently Pentel make a brush pen that is very similar to this, but is refillable. So knowing that this one and that one are supposedly quite similar, I will feel comfortable investing in that and gaining the value of that over time. And you can tell I have enjoyed using markers. I found out that my paper isn't actually particularly great for markers. It bleeds through. It's really meant as a sketchbook. So I'm going to have to get some different paper or just not use the markers on here. But everyone says Copic markers are the best, and based on what I've seen and heard, that does seem to be broadly accurate. But the ones that I've got are Winsor & Newton, and they are so much cheaper it isn't funny. I mean, it really isn't. This set was about 40 quid, it comes with 24 pens, and they are pretty much just as good. The one thing that they don't have that I wish I had known before that is they've got two nibs. One is a chisel nib, which I use a lot, and the other one is a little point nib, kind of like most other felt pens. What I would have really liked is a brush nib. Now they do make pens like this with brush nibs, and I actually have some. If I can pick them up. Where did I put them? Here they are. I bought these skin tone ones as well as the 24 set, and these do have a brush nib. If I open that up, you can see they have a brush, which, as brushes do, you can get very, very small lines and you can get very, very big lines, and you can more easily blend them. The brushes are better. Brushes are better. So if you're going to go and get Winsor & Newton markers, try and find brush markers. They're very good. Copics, I believe, are all brush markers as standard. They have brushes on them and they have chisel tips as well. I've not used Copics. I've seen other people use them, and to be honest, I don't see a significant difference in ink quality. The downside to these ones is that you can't refill them. Copics, you can refill them, and so while the initial price of a Copic is very high, at least twice the price of these, if not more, when these run out, you have to throw them away and buy a new one. When your Copic runs out, you can buy a refill for about the same price as a new pen and get 10 plus refills out of it. So if you're going to be using markers for a very long time, they are the better investment. And I think when these run out, if I continue to enjoy using them, then I will probably switch to Copics, because I have never done artwork like this or like this with traditional media. I am not good with traditional media. Well, for a start, I didn't used to practice very much, but also I found watercolor really difficult to use in school. So I never considered that I would be any good at this kind of art traditionally. And once I was working on the computer, you've got infinite colors, or 16.7 million or whatever, and I had a graphics tablet, so I had all the advantages. But I got inspired after watching a couple of other people use their Copics and markers, and I thought to myself, well, you know, the Winsor & Newtons aren't too expensive. You know, they were 40 or so pounds, 30 or 40 pounds, and I can buy them, try them, see how I like them, and I do like them. I like them a lot, actually. I'd like to get new paper that will take the ink better, because this doesn't do a bad job, but it bleeds through, so you need to protect the page behind it, and it doesn't... when I try and erase paper, when I try to erase pencil markings, it tends to bring up the ink with it because of it's a very nice soft paper, but it also, so it's great for sketching on, but when I try to pull the pencil off, it'll take the ink off as well because the paper is quite soft. So on better paper, I'm sure I would enjoy these even more. Well, I say better, different paper, better suited to markers. And yeah, I've just really enjoyed working with traditional media, playing around with colour. I'm colourblind, so my ability to perceive reds and greens is a bit different, but it seems that the internet is perfectly happy for you to draw using any colour if it's a marker, as long as the saturation levels are right. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, and I would encourage you, if you are interested in traditional artwork and are afraid of it, pick up these Winsor & Newton markers and have a play. Pick up a high quality brush pen, either this Copic or the Pentel brush pen, because again, I get lines that are just like using the computer. It is beautiful. Usually brush markers, I've never been able to get any gradation of thickness. This one works fine. So yeah, if you're interested in me doing any traditional work, this camera setup looks reasonable, so I can give that a try. If you would prefer not to hear from me again, just don't say that, because that will hurt my feelings. Yeah, I would recommend anyone try these. They're not too expensive, and they're stunning. The colour is brilliant. Just the everything. I just like everything about them. I'm very happy, and I wanted to spread that news.